very much passionate about women, women and education. Um, how does education influence the lives, especially of women specifically? How do you guys,
In what way?
okay, so if a woman is educated,
Sure.
how does in your view, how does that influence her life?
I
Okay.
mean, for me personally, it depends once again. Um, um, Being an educated woman myself, I wouldn't say I don't have a degree in anything, but I went to good schools, and I did like 2 years at Vega in tertiary. I just didn't finish because I had more passion towards music. But I would say that it just, I was it was like a supplement for me to receive education because I would say I was a pretty smart child. Um, and be that as it may, I would say, you know, I've had a pretty okay life. I've had the privilege of seeing things from the perspective of the way that they present themselves. I'm a realist.
Yeah.
I'm able to navigate my way through life well, better than most. But it still has not helped. Being educated, it still has not helped me avoid making mistakes.
Yeah.
Of course. I still put myself in predicaments that have compromised me in many aspects of life, like romantically, professionally. I still make the same kinds of mistakes that anybody else does. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how far it goes
An influence.
if it pertains to the subject of gender-based violence.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how far it goes because I was a victim of gender-based violence and being educated never prevented.
Yeah.
I mean, I stayed.
Okay, maybe the next question would be, if you don't mind sharing,
Yes.
what then propelled you to leave the space that you were in? What was the driving force behind the fact that, okay, I've had enough, I'm leaving?
Um, I think the day that I realized that this person just did not love me at all. Like,
Okay.
I think part of the reason why I stayed initially is because I thought that he loved me.
Yeah.
And I felt sorry for him. He would beat me and I would feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
Because I felt like, I mean, there's so many facets to the story, but I felt like he had grown up in an environment that did not teach him how to manage his emotions. And I felt like he had deep-rooted issues with one of his parents.
Yeah.
And this is obviously pillow talk.
Yeah.
Information that I've accumulated through pillow talk.
Yeah.
And so when and also by the time he started hitting me, which is another manipulation tactic of his, by the time he started hitting me, I was completely invested in him.
Yeah.
He didn't, it's not like we just dated and then he started hitting me.
Yeah.
No, it took him like a year before he started beating me up. And by then I was head over heels in love. I was invested. We were looking at getting married and starting our lives together. I was fully invested. Like I was wrapped around his finger. And this is what they do. This is what a lot of narcissists do.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, the recurring excuse I constantly made for myself and for his behavior was that he loved me, he loves me, he loves me, he loves me, he loves me. Yes, he hits me, but he's human. He's a human being. He had a hard life. He loves me. He loves me. He loves me. And then the day that I realized that no, man, this is not love.
Yeah.
It wasn't even necessarily the beating.
Yeah.
It was just the behavior in between.
Yeah.
Like how can you compromise my career like this?
Yeah.
How can you compromise my well-being? How can you sleep knowing that I did not have a place to stay last night? Knowing that was a direct consequence of your actions. That was a result of something that you did that put me in this position. So when it hit me that no, man, this person this person does not love me at all. This is not love. That's when I was like, what am I staying here for? And even then, I still loved him. And even then, the idea of being with him wasn't completely like cast aside in my head. I still loved him. I still wanted to be with him. It took years for me to realize the magnitude of manipulation this person put me under over the years. I only started to see him for what he was probably 2 years after the breakup. It took me years. It's not just, it's one thing to just break up with someone and be like, people think that that's an immediate tie from the relationship.
No.
Nice.
You still have to there's so much undoing that goes on in the process after the breakup as well.
One of them is the one that you just mentioned now, that you were thinking that because he has certain trauma in his life, based on the fact that he was someone who was telling you about his life. And that's something that a lot of victims do. We like to personalize other people's problems, and then we take full responsibility and to say, "Oh, I understand why he's behaving like that." It's something that all of us, me included, have done that.
Yeah.
I've wanted to be a bigger person. I wanted to. I felt like superpower or superwoman into thinking that I have power
Yeah.
to fix. So my love, I felt like my love was
Sure.
strong
Sure.
to make this person change, and that was like madness, crazy. And I feel like a lot of women, they do that. I was in the same predicament as you. I mean, I was in the same.
I
was in the
think-
same,
I-
and yeah.
I
go
think to
ahead.
touch on going back to just the education part of it, we have what we call life orientation. Life orientation is they teach us about sex health and all of that, but they really don't teach us about the subject of love. Which is where a lot of people struggle, because I feel at the end of the day, love encompasses everything we are. Love pushes the career, love pushes the drive for finances, love pushes this and that. This is why when you lack financially, you can't love right. When you do this, you can't love right. But when you have somebody behind you saying, babe, do this, even though you're failing, you still want to push. Because there's somebody saying, babe, you can do this, or your family saying you can do this, you can do this. So we're not, in schools, we're not pushing the subject of love. And its disadvantages was come with disappointment, abuse, this and that and that. And I think what encompasses love, and I think should come back to every education booklet, school, is religion. Whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, if there must be a time where kids separate and go practice whatever they practice, because everyone in its, whether it's Buddha, whether it's at the essence of it, it's all love.
Yeah.
We all bring back by love. It's just that we call this person differently.
Yeah.
Right? He's got different names.
Yeah.
By all of us. But what's his subject? It's love.
Yeah.
So I think everybody should go back to the book of love.
Yeah.
We embody love. We give people love. We say this is who a person is.
Yeah.
And we forgot that we are love. The person who loves us is this person.
Yeah.
That's why you've got certain scriptures biblically that say, trust no man but God. They are very intentional.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we forget things like that. And we've now encompassed this person as love. And then forgetting that they are flawed as you are flawed. And then when they disappoint us, I'm taking my life.
Yeah.
That is disappointing. That is scary.
Yeah.
So I feel like back in schools education, we need to bring back the subject of love. And that's a therapy. That's therapy. If therapists or psychologists need to be the teachers who teach that, and pastors and bishops, they need to come back in schools and teach what the true essence of love is.
Hey, we can take a whole day for talking about pastors and bishops. But on that note about pastors and bishops,
Yeah, but
on that, I
theology.
feel like we need to strike a balance
Yeah.
of spirituality and empowerment of your self-empowerment, which is why I'm so passionate about education. Education, because I've known my Buddha for a long time, and I know her story, her life, and I hope you can touch base like some of part of your story, in the fact that because of how empowered and how education helped you, how your father then drove you into education, you became this powerful woman.
Sure.
That you had power to leave that toxic environment that you were once in.
Yeah.
Because you had somewhere to fall back on.
Yeah.
So you had you had yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like education does that for us. What do you feel?
Okay, go education. It's a very interesting one. So, one of the things I forgot to mention is that I'm an author, and one of my books that I wrote many years ago, it's called Chase Your Dreams, and there's a chapter there that talks about education, and how important is education. And for me, education is not everything.
Sure.
But education is the key that can open that door.
Yeah.
Once you're in the door, street education comes in, life skills and everything. But sometimes people are not even able to enter.
Sure.
Because they need that key that will get them in.
Sure.
So women must prioritize education
Sure.
because it becomes a key. Many of our sisters are staying in toxic relationships because of financial
Dependency. True.
But if you're educated, you will open the door, and that door will lead you to financial independence.
It's true.
My mom used to say, my parents were teachers and highly accomplished teachers who grew in the education sector. And my mom used to say, I have a husband and I'm going to give you this husband. On the 25th, this husband does not falter.
Right, that's supposed to be.
So if
It's a payday.
Oh.
Payday.
on payday, this husband will show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one thing that women, we need to be empowered.
Yeah.
Mm.
True.
Because
Mhm.
then you stay in a relationship because you want to be there.
Hey.
You love to be there.
Hey.
When it's not working for you, you are able to remove yourself,
Yeah.
from that. So I think education is the key. And that's why I say it's the key to open the door. Because there are a lot of educated people who open the door, and once they are in,
Yeah.
they relax,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then they don't,
Yeah.
But at least have the key to open the door.
True.
Absolutely. But also, Siswami, yes, education is the key. I totally support that, and I'm with you. I totally agree with you. But sometimes, even educated women are subjected to abuse.
Exactly.
Even women who come from financially
True.
advantageous backgrounds, people who come from rich families, they also become victims or victims.
True.
I think substantially, the one thing that I would encourage women to teach themselves is being okay on their own.
Mm.
Learn to be okay
Alone.
by yourself.
Mm.
Because that fear of being alone is what will drive you to stay.
Very true.
Learn to love yourself, because that fear of not being lovable or loved by a man will drive you to stay. I know this, at least I'm saying this from my own personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish I felt about myself then the way that I do now. I wish I was as content with being by myself and content with loving myself, with the love that I have for myself, rather.
Yeah.
I wish I had that for myself then, because it would have saved me so
Sure.
much heartache as well.
Love yourself. Thank you so much, guys, for your time and for tuning in into this podcast series. And do join us for our last episode, where we will be talking about mental health.